Hi everyone, this is Rajat from Upgrade Cyclery. Today we have a session on understanding Brevet and the Ultra Spice race, and we have none other than Divya Tate for the session. She's the founder of Audax India, she's the founder of Inspire India, and she's the one who brought Brevet to India. So I don't think we have a better speaker to, address all your questions, queries. Please shoot all your queries. We'll be covering most of them. So Divya, how we are going to plan is like we're going to cover three areas first initially with regard
Yeah.
to Audax India, understanding what is Audax India. Then we'll understand like how the clubs operate, and then we will move to the riders. So once we
Oh,
complete Audax India and Brevet part, then move into the Ultra Spice area. Okay,
okay.
perfect. I'm going to start. Okay, so we'll start with a small history, like, when was Brevet started in India and what inspired you to bring Brevet to India? That's my first question.
Okay. I've been cycling since 1992,
Okay,
and that goes way back. And
okay,
for the first 17 or 18 years, I just cycled for fun. I did my own thing. There were no events in India. What we see as the cycling ecosystem today, where there's a whole lot of cycle shops everywhere, there's a lot of equipment, there's resources, people who are into it. So you have to imagine that none of this existed between 1992
yeah.
and 2010. 2008, 9 onwards, a lot of cycling
Yeah, a
things
lot of
still
international brands started coming to India, correct.
stages, right? Then in 2009, sometime I came to know that there was a 200-kilometer brevet, the first one in India, that was to take place in Mumbai on
Okay,
the 30th of Jan, I think, 2010. And till
okay,
that time, though I had been cycling for 18 years, I had never actually done a distance of more than maybe 150 kilometers in a day or something because
yeah.
my we actually didn't even have any way of measuring distances, no Garmin, no nothing.
No, we didn't
So
have Strava or that point of
nothing
time.
at all. There were no smartphones. There was no nothing.
Yeah,
There was no
true.
apps also. So
It was mind calculation. You had the milestone to calculate then.
yeah, exactly. And the milestones used to be wrong, so you never knew what you
Yeah,
did.
correct. Yeah, true.
Never sometimes I didn't know where I was. It would be later that I said, okay, I think maybe I was in this village or something. So I never had
Okay,
any idea I was just doing it like this. But I never focused on doing distances also. The cycling was never about the numbers. So then when this brevet was announced, 200 kilometer, I was just curious to see if I could do that. I
okay,
was also the only woman to sign up on it, at least
okay,
initially. I think there was another woman later. I never found out. I didn't meet her. But I thought it would be interesting to see if I can do 200K. I knew nothing at all about Audax or anything. I was on my mountain bike in a plain t-shirt and we just went and had a great time. And
okay.
then after I did that brevet, I came to know that there is 300, there are 400, and
Yeah,
all this leads up to an event in France called Paris Press Paris, which is a 1200-kilometer event.
okay.
So I never even thought I would do something like this, but it sounded exciting. So I said, let me
Yeah,
see how much more I can push this limit.
yeah.
And, I ended up becoming the first woman to complete a Super SR series in India. I
Superb.
qualified for PVP. And when I
Yeah,
went to France for PVP, that event was an eye opener because when I saw, that event is 120 something years old.
yeah.
So it's been supported by the people of France, by the people in the neighborhood for like three, four generations now. And
Okay,
when I saw that, I just felt that we need to start creating things like this in India. It's a
okay.
great opportunity for interaction more than anything else. It's a wonderful
True.
way to interact with your fellow
You
country
find
people.
new riders. Yeah, correct.
This was the reason why I started. Then in 2011, I took over Audax India, became the national representative for this activity, and since then it's just grown, as you know.
Yeah. And when you talk about the history, you already mentioned the history of attacks. Like, what you're talking about the culture of this activity? What do you mean by this culture of this attacks?
So, like I said, the history of this activity goes back more than a century, and
Yeah.
because it's something that belongs to like in France and it's grown from there. Over the years of this activity growing there, it developed a certain culture of its own, which is unique to Audax events. And now, of course, they give that it's available all over the world. It's an
Yeah.
international format of doing brevets. And the
Yep.
culture is basically non-competitive.
Yeah.
It's more about the joy of riding, exploring the countryside, doing it with friends
Yeah. So
who,
fun.
you know everybody's on the same kind of level as far as sport go, and you're not sort of
Yeah.
competing with each other. So that forms the core of the culture of Audax or Randon
Yeah.
Living.
Odin is a gathering, for everyone to meet, greet, and then ride. Fun. Yeah.
It's fun, and especially the food part of it. Everybody has a good appetite, and you go out and you eat something together and enjoy the ride.
Yeah. And after 200, yeah, you burn a lot and you need to eat. That's true.
Yeah.
At the level of participation from the time you bought to India and right now, a lot of women riders are coming in, and we are like see a lot of women super engineers, women riders participating in it. Do you ever thought this, event would get so much popularity in India?
No, I had no clue because when I started in 2011, we were only three clubs, and I don't think there was nobody, no other woman managed to do an SR till
Yeah.
2013, I think, because nobody else had one woman was trying this that. Then in 2013, I did my second SR, and so I was
Okay.
actually the second woman to finish an SR again. Then
Okay.
slowly a little interest picked up from various people. Other women started targeting and doing SRs. And in 2015, when I went for PVP I went as a support for the
Yeah.
Indian continent. There was only one woman attempting PVP, a young girl from Nasik, and
Okay.
it was still the growth was still slow, but it
Still
had
there.
already
Yeah.
to a point where in 2015, the Audax Club Parisian at PBP, they gave me an award for overseeing the largest growth. And
Okay.
this
Yeah.
was in
True.
2015, they gave me this award. By
Yeah.
2019, their escalation was beyond, we can't even talk about it anymore.
That's the reason I just kept that, your achievements and, all these credentials behind you, we need a session for that. You have a lot of recognitions and awards for, as far as this brewery is concerned.
Yeah. And in 2019, what happened was that suddenly there were 20 plus women who were
Oh,
attempting PB. So
good. Yeah.
it was then that the women's part of it we could actually talk about as being a nice large group of
Yeah.
really strong women from around the country who've been riding brevets day and night.
Yeah.
So it's great to see this.
That's a huge growth. And how challenging it is to manage. You have 80 cities across India, like different clubs riding overnight, continuously for hours. How, challenging is
Uh,
it? How are just
so
managing this?
Uh, in the initial years, the challenge was to keep up with the growth in the sense
Yeah.
that for me personally, the challenge one was to manage all the data. So then we developed technology to manage it.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of man hours to do all that. The other challenge
Correct.
was to ensure that the quality of brevets conducted across the country is the same. It's a
Yeah.
standardized sort of. So
True.
we have certain
Correct.
format, we have parameters within which people are supposed
Parameters.
to
Yeah.
operate. But still,
Yeah.
I wanted to have
Yeah.
people have freedom. So at Audax India level, then as the representative, we started to conduct seminars in which I
Okay.
created a lot of educational material for, guides for people as to how to conduct the brevets, what kind of challenges they
True.
face. Until 2020, we were doing those annually or sometimes even twice
Yeah.
a year. Now we do them online sometimes. And now, of course,
Good.
I've handed over the entire Audax India management to Raghu Vishal from Baroda. So
Okay.
uh, at some point, I think the challenge became big enough for me to say, okay, I've done my bit now. And
You have
now
done a
it's,
lot. Yeah. Correct. True,
yeah.
that's nice. And so that is one thing. The ones you always the clubs support you in terms of organizing events. So my next session would come into the organizing clubs. So who will be eligible for a club if someone wants to, like someone who is watching this video and you want to become an organizing club for Audax, like what is the possibility?
Right. So actually, we do have certain eligibility criteria that are even listed on the website for somebody who wants
Yeah.
to become a club or a ride responsible. So,
Yeah.
just to mention the terminology, Audax Club France
Yeah.
assigns this job of conducting brevets to the title, or rather the name of the role is ride responsible. So
Yeah.
actually,
Right.
that's
Response.
a very good idea about what the role is. The role is that
Yeah.
of responsible for organizing the brevet, for your riders, for how you create your club and the nature
Your
of
route.
the
Yeah.
and so the first criteria from my perspective for becoming a ride responsible and starting to conduct events is to first be a randonneur yourself. That
Yeah.
means
First of all, yeah.
you
True.
have to have an interest in riding the brevets. That is the first thing. I don't,
Yeah.
so I've had over the years, I've had so many requests, and at Audax India, one of the things that we were very clear about, and
Mm.
actually this is there in one of your questions about the whole non-profit angle. And the
Yeah.
non-profit angle was a very strong part of this, that
Yeah.
I never ever sought or asked somebody, would you like to conduct brevets? Never.
Yeah. Correct.
We just did. I was a randonneur. I wanted to share this activity with others. And my thing was
True.
everybody who becomes a club organizer should also come from exactly the
All
same
this.
place.
Yeah. They
Love
all
this
should be on the same
so
page.
much that you say, hey, I want to share it with people around me. So that formed the
Correct.
core of the eligibility from my perspective. And we used to
Yeah.
get a lot of requests. We just filter the requests depending on the needs. We have a few other criteria. The club should
Yeah.
not be clashing with an existing club unless
Correct.
it's a city like Bombay or Chennai or
It's a
Delhi
bigger
where we,
city. Yeah.
yeah, huge,
Correct.
the other thing is that we don't very extremely populated brevets taking place, because then other issues happen. You have more than 100 riders in one brevet. It can
Yeah.
lead to other sort of thing.
Other problems. So coming
Yeah.
to that, what are the kind of powers you entrust on the representing club to manage this event?
So I would actually say that what we entrust the club with is a
In terms of
response.
violation of the thing. Yeah, that's what my idea is.
So, so they are responsible for everything, including the quality of their events and the
Yeah.
quality of the randonneurs that come out of their club. Because
Yeah.
finally, if you at any point compromise on the quality of
The
the brevet, that
quality of it.
over here you can become a randonneur, but then you go to Paris and you do PVP, and then we come to know, that
How tough is
even
this?
though
Yeah.
we're maintaining a high quality over here, ensuring that this thing, but there's so many challenges that we don't have. Like the terrain,
Yeah.
most of our brevets are on terrain which is not very challenging.
Yeah.
There's other challenges in PvP. So we need riders to be so strong and so
Yeah.
good that you should be able to go to PvP and perform at exactly the same rate or finish rate that you do over here in India. So
True.
compromising on the rules, regulations, all this. So who is going to manage it? I'm sitting here in Pune,
Yeah.
and I've given
Yeah.
somebody in another part of the country the responsibility of ensuring that the brevet
Yeah.
is run properly. So they have to
Yeah.
have the decision making power. So this is a part of what we do with them during the seminars, is which we train them
Yeah.
how not to compromise, how to build a strong core of riders,
Community. Yeah.
that maturity in the riders to understand that it's not about one brevet. If I
Yeah.
miss my brevet by 5 minutes, it's okay. It's a
Yeah.
part of
It's
your
okay to
learning.
lose. Yeah. Correct.
You'll be better next time. And if you ask me to just compromise and give you a certification now, it has no value really in real
Correct.
life.
Correct. Yeah.
So these kind of things, and of course with cheating, we take a very hard line. So there, the clubs have full authority to investigate, and we also have we spend a lot of time on
Then
and
validating the.
investigations of cheating and stuff.
And if you ask me, this ride is like day night, covers different cities. Like, what are the kind of permissions, traffic, thing which they need to take in these clubs? It's more
So
challenging.
you actually, so in India, there, because we don't obstruct any traffic, our
Okay.
levies are non-obstructive, because first, it's not a race. Secondly,
Yeah.
we don't have like a huge
Group
peloton or anything.
riding.
Everybody is
Yeah.
just riding on their own, and our rules insist that everybody follows the traffic rules. So we
Yeah.
are not impeding traffic, we are a part of traffic. So as
Yeah.
such, we're not required to take permission to conduct a brevet because we're not really
We
occupying
are
the
not
road.
running. Yeah.
I think that there are some places, and I think Kerala is one of the places where the police has requested brevet organizers to inform them or take some kind of
Yeah.
permissions. There are some other exceptional clubs, very but small handful.
True. Because
Most
I
of
have
them.
an experience, when I do a 50-kilometer ride, all three, the route is 50, but the route falls in the range of three different commissioners. So I have to take permission from all three traffic commissioners and
I
then
see.
do it. Yeah,
Okay.
so they're a bit strict on that part. It depends on city to city.
And if you talk about long distance with 200, 400, 600, it's impractical to do such
Yeah,
thing. But yeah,
correct.
so yeah.
Okay, going from the clubs to the riders right now. So there will be a lot of new riders. A lot of people have post-pandemic. A lot of people have joined cycling and taken cycling as a leisure. They want to take it into serious mode. So there will be many new brevet riders. So you are the first super engineer, women super engineer. So I think you are the best person to give. Because that point of time, you didn't have a Strava to calculate your performance. You were no other data thing. Your mind game was the first thing over there. So what could be the 5 tips you give to a rider on the objective of the ride, and what advice for the brevet training? Initially everything needs a training.
Yeah. So, for those who have just recently taken up cycling,
Yeah,
I would say first just start enjoying it. And I mean, not that I need to say that also. Obviously,
yeah,
you're continuing to ride regularly because you do enjoy it.
yeah,
And then when you're ready to sort of push your distances,
yeah,
experiment with pushing your distances between 50 kilometers to 100 kilometers. Once you're confident about that, then you can sign up. We have what is called Brevet Populaires under Audax India, which
yeah,
are not ratified by ACP France, but Audax
yeah,
India validates them. So you have a 100
yeah,
kilometer, you have a 150 kilometer. Most clubs offer these.
yeah,
I would say start small, enjoy your rides, and
yeah.
then slowly pushing your limit. Pushing the
Correct.
limit is a long process. Enjoy that journey as you're doing it, become stronger, understand. One of the most important things to understand is how is your body responding to the
Responding to it. Yeah,
stress that you're doing. So,
correct.
uh, how if the body is responding well, then you know that you can push it a little bit more.
Push it.
Make
Yeah,
sure hydrate properly. Make
yeah,
sure that you stretch. So the thing about long distance is that it's it's a repeated action that you're doing. So
yeah.
you've
Your
got to make
muscle gets
sure
tight.
that yeah, so everything, your cycle, and your body will give you feedback. The
Yeah,
question is, are you listening to
response.
the?
Yeah,
So, for example,
correct.
small things like bike fit. Now, bike
Yeah,
fit, we tend not to bother too much about it, but if you're
yeah.
just doing short distances, bike fit is not a
It's fine.
problem.
Yeah,
But when you start going 200 kilometers and over, is where if there is a small issue, that
yeah.
issue is likely to become a bigger issue. It's likely to
Bigger
give you
issue
some
later.
your lower back issue, your shoulders might hurt, you might start getting this
Numbness.
carpal issues or knee issues. Knee issues are so common. So
Yeah,
listen to the feedback that your body is giving you because I think that remaining injury free while doing these
is the
is
thing.
far more important than just hitting that target, then
Yeah,
getting an injury. You decide, okay, I'm going to do the SR in the first 4 months after I start cycling or something.
yeah.
You get, then I see a lot of people leaving this
Cycling
activity
sport.
because yeah, because they got an injury, they got something, and if you've pushed yourself too much, then
Yeah,
the feedback is your body's finally going to your feedback is there, but then the body's
yeah.
finally going to
You
go
didn't
to pain,
listening to it. Yeah, correct.
and recovering from that just becomes
Yeah,
far more difficult. Yeah,
true. And also you stereotype it like cycling creates injuries. So it's not for
yeah,
everyone.
yeah. And
And
then I
coming
think
back, yeah,
one other thing that I would tell people to do is to just learn basic bike mechanics.
yeah.
So that will give you a
Fixing
very
punctures. Yeah,
understand simple things like how to adjust your brakes, how to adjust your gears, how to change a
Six
tune.
flat.
Yeah, and at least that much. Then of course there's more that one should learn. You should be able to repair a
Yeah,
broken train, for example, how to use those tools and things. And I think a lot of bike
correct.
shops, I'm not sure if you are doing them, but a lot of bike shops do these small workshops to teach riders
Correct.
how to take care of the basics
Yeah,
and
true.
maintain it for sure.
Yeah, we had last Breve, we had one of the checkpoints, and so we were also helping them to, check the bike, quick bike check while they were having their, refreshments.
Yeah.
And one interesting thing about Breve, which I always like, is like, you know, the event has a equal recognition regardless of your finishing order. So why
Yeah.
is that?
So this is again part of the culture, like I said. So the culture of
Yeah,
Audax is completely non-competitive. So even if you
yeah,
see, if you go historically to see PBP results,
yeah,
you will have to scan through all the results to find who did it in the shortest time. The
yeah,
results are listed alphabetically. So the point of this is we're not competing with each other. It is not a race,
yeah,
and that's why the focus is not on finishing first, but on finishing together. And so
yeah,
everybody, no matter what time you finish, everybody
yeah,
is like treated with equal this thing. And in fact,
yeah,
I mean, we also honor people who finish late.
yeah,
We can't
true.
give you a validation from France, but we do have a section where we can allow people's late finishes also to be there. And then on at a
Yeah,
personal level, we honor people who finish late.
yeah.
There is value behind helping a friend, helping a comrade, riding and
Yeah.
doing it together more than anything
Yeah,
else.
cycling, the Breve, one thing which we have noticed, like it is a group activity, they help each other. That's something which is really good. You're not, you're
Yeah,
compromising on your efficiency for, someone's sake. So that means they are enjoying the, ride. So
right.
coming to the next question, like, what can you explain, like, what is the process and qualifying for the PBP? That's the ultimate thing which people aim for.
Yeah, yeah. So a PVP is conducted every 4 years. So the last one was in
Okay.
2015, and the next one will be in 2023. So
Okay.
for PVP, what's been happening over the last 3 PVPs is that there's a large demand for participating in PVP, and
Correct.
uh, until 2019, I don't know if things may change for the next time, but
Yeah.
the way it's been going is that there is a wait list, and
Okay.
to get ahead in the wait list, you have
Okay.
to do a ride, a BRM, in the
Yeah.
year before PVP. So
Okay.
1 year before PVP, the longest ride that you do, the longest BRM that you do,
Yeah.
becomes your kind of entry ticket to the wait list. So
Okay.
if you do 1,000 or a 1,200, the people all across the world who have done 1,000 or 1,200 will be
They
able
get
to
some price. Yeah.
pre-register for PVP
Yeah.
and get their
Correct.
name on a wait list. And then it goes from that, then they open it up for 600, then they open for 400, 300, 200, etc. So this
Yep.
is your wait list, which depends on the longest ride you do the year before PVP. Then in the year that PVP is being conducted, in that year you have to complete a SR series.
Yeah.
So then when you become an SR, then you can go and register for PVP. So you
Okay.
qualify to PVP. That's the way. But I would still tell people that don't only do an SR. Like
Yeah.
last year, 2019 PVP, we were more than 300 people at France from
Yeah.
India, and
Okay.
about 40, I think you were going to ask me about this anyway, so I'm
Yeah, true. Yeah. How many have
sure.
participated? How many have completed it? Yeah.
Yeah. So, so that's right. So how many has completed is around 40 out of 40, 42 or something, but out of 300 people who took part. And
Yeah.
that's not a great percentage for finish. And part of the reason which is one is that they're very alien conditions in a way for
Yeah.
people from here. A large number of this 300 strong team has never been abroad. So you have no
Yeah.
idea what the climate is
How the
like. You have
riding conditions? Yeah.
food. Food is a big issue because we Indians
Yeah.
are used to eating a certain, home
Kind of food. Yeah.
and your roti and vegetarian is another problem out there because they don't understand vegetarianism. So
Yeah.
these kind of challenges are there. The other challenge is that most of the contingent was very new to riding brevis. Very few
Mm.
had done 1,000 or a 1,200 in India previously. So then
Okay.
you don't know what you're going to experience beyond 600 kilometers. So if you think
True.
that doing just an SR is enough, I would say it's
Yeah.
not. You know, you've got to not just do your SR, you've got to do your SR really strong. So if
Yeah.
your 600 kilometers, if you have 40 hours to complete your SR, you should
Yeah.
be targeting 34 hours. You
Yeah.
know, that's how fast you should be able to think about. And then if
True.
in India you can do one of the tough 1200s or 1000 with lots
Yeah.
of elevation challenge in it, then you're really
You're
prepared.
ready for this.
It's not
Correct.
just about the qualification, consider preparing as well.
And coming back to the number of PBP riders who are attempting it, it has grown up over years. So how
Yeah.
challenging is that take so many people and do the PBP control in the number of people coming to France for rides?
Um,
How is that?
I think in 2011 they had a different set of rules in which they
Yeah.
had quotas for each country, but
Okay.
then they removed that and they made it open. So now the
Okay.
only way in which they filter riders is through the wait list and your PPP qualification. And I think they
Qualifications.
have a limit of around 6,000, 5.5 to 6,000 participants is what they
Person.
can manage. So,
Entire. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if from India there's a larger demand, the demand is just going to be competing with people across the world for it.
Correct. No, this
Yeah,
year, like the cycling has grown up, all over the world. It's a global hike. So,
yeah.
that's what I wanted to know that
So the
whether the
best thing
PBP.
to do if they're worried about it is to do a long distance ride in the year before PPP. So if you're targeting
And make
PPP in 2023, then in
yeah,
2022, do 1,000 or a 1,200 at least. You know, that way
correct.
physically also you're prepared, mental preparation, and your name will
Your
be
wait
higher
list, yeah,
and better
correct.
chances of actually finishing PPP as well.
That is true, yeah. And like, see, once a person who becomes an SRE, doesn't he want to go to PBP? Like, what are the more possibility he has being a super engineer?
Sorry, what are the?
No, no. Once a person complete a engineer thing and become a super engineer, what are his possibilities, other than PBP?
So, one of the things I would strongly recommend to runners in India is,
Yeah,
we have 55 clubs across this country.
yeah.
And that means we're talking about 85 different climate
Cities.
zones, 85 different cuisine that is available for you to
Yeah,
experiment.
that's true.
The, you know, India's got such immense diversity. So when you have
Yeah,
85 clubs across the country, the good thing would be to go across and explore the possibilities, challenge yourself by doing brevis in different parts of the country.
yeah,
Audax India, Audax across the world. One part of the culture that I forgot to talk about is
yeah,
the community, strong community connect. So when you tell
yeah,
somebody I'm a randonneer, there's an immediate connection. This was
yeah,
something that I even when I went for PVP that just being an SR and being an SR amongst SRs is
yeah,
there's immediately a bond. So within
yeah.
India
True,
also people travel, people host each other for doing brevis.
mm,
They've built relationships over the years. So that's one of
true.
the things that people should target. Then,
Yeah,
you know, you can also look at doing other events outside the country.
true.
There's another organization called LRM, which is Le Randonneur
Okay,
Mondiaux, which oversees events like LEL, London, Edinburgh,
okay.
London. Then there's the event in Italy, Thailand. I think a group of people from India went and did a ride in Thailand called, I think,
Yeah,
2020. It was 2020 kilometers.
true.
So there are always within Audax there's these, and
Yeah,
I think there's also then I think we'll be flowing into our
coming to
next
that.
next
True.
topic. I won't say it until you ask me another
Yeah.
question.
Okay, so I'm saying I'm taking like, you have been an SR right now. So what is next, So then comes, the ultra spice race. So,
Yeah.
before Ultra Spice race, you just recently told like there are different formats of long distance riding. So,
Right.
in India, how many are there? Like, other apart
Oh,
from your Ultra Spice?
so I'll just briefly run through the different kinds of formats there are in long distance
Yeah,
cycling. So, in long distance
correct.
cycling, or ultra cycling as it's called, audax is one part of it, which is the non-competitive kind of component of long distance. And
Yeah,
then you have racing. And long distance racing or endurance racing, there are a few different organizations or overseeing bodies or formats. One of them is Race Across America, which is
yeah.
linked with an organization called World Ultra Cycling uh,
Okay,
Forum or Association in the USA, and
okay,
they oversee. So Race Across America has built its own family of races, which are called RAM
okay,
qualifiers.
okay,
And those in India now, I've been conducting RAM qualifiers since 2014. So I
okay.
have, besides Audax India, I have another organization or another company called Inspire India.
Inspire
And
India.
under Inspire, I started by doing RAM qualifiers like Deccan Cliffhanger, which is quite well
Yeah,
known now. We've 7
true.
editions. Then Ultra Spice and Great Himalayan. So this is one format which follows the RAM requirements, which
Yeah,
is to have a support crew with you. So there's a
true.
support crew with each racer, and there's parameters and rules that you have to follow to
Okay,
be qualified for Race Across America. Then
okay,
there is another style of racing called bike pack racing. Bike pack
okay,
racing also has very long races. You have the Trans Am race, which is 6,000 kilometers. So, Race Across America, or RAM as we call it, is around 5,000 kilometers. Then there is a
okay,
Trans Am, which goes in the opposite direction, which is around 5.5 to 6,000 kilometers. Then you have
okay.
Transcontinental, and there's a bunch of these races which are self-supported. So,
Yeah,
and in fact, that format, organizers give you absolutely nothing. In fact, even some of these races require you to even draft out your own map. So some of them give
okay.
you a route, some of them tell you you have to draft your. So, there's a whole lot of variations here. But the main thing
Yeah,
about those bikepack races is that you are completely on your own. You carry
yeah,
everything that you need. Absolutely zero support can be taken from, you can't set up any kind
yeah.
of support on the organizers don't help. There's only
Yeah,
tracking and there's the dot watching. So that's
yeah.
one format. Then you have a format like Trans-Siberian, which
Okay,
is a stage race, very
okay,
long. It's about 9,000 kilometers and it's broken up
okay,
into stages. Race Across America and the bike pack races are actually time trial style, which means that
oh,
from start to finish, it's a time trial. You start and then,
oh,
finish, the clock doesn't stop. Now you sleep, you don't sleep, whatever. So you're racing against the clock, really. So these
yeah,
are some of the formats that exist across the world. And
correct.
in under Inspire India, we started doing RAM qualifiers. And in the
Yeah,
last 2 3 years, I actually innovated a new format, which
yeah,
we have done at Ultra Spice twice now. And that
yeah.
format is really popular because it's kind of a fusion. It's a fusion
Okay,
of the brevet style, which is you
yeah,
carry your own, etc. But we give you drop bags. So the organizers
mm,
are there. We give you drop bags. We give you a night halt. The
yeah.
second thing is that it's got a little bit of the Trans-Siberian format mixed into it, because now we also break it up into stages.
Okay,
So at the Ultra Spice, we've conducted a 1750 kilometer, which was self-supported, and a 1200, which was supported, and it was broken up into two stages where
okay,
all the racers, and it's a race,
okay.
hardcore. So, you race the first stage, you finish it, you rest. Next morning, we
Yeah,
flag you off a second time. So you have your drop bags, you have a little bit, night halt
yeah,
possibility. Then the next day you start the race again with another this thing, and the cumulative time is counted. So the Ultra Spice, the self-supported race has become quite popular with some of our very strong randonneurs.
Yeah.
Gelen has done it, Nadir
Yeah,
has done
Galen
it from
from yeah.
Sundar and Gelen have actually done. They are PPP finishers, and they came for the first this
Yeah.
thing. Then here we did a 1200 self-support that had randonneurs from across the country come and
Yeah.
attempt to do it. So it's a popular sort of a format. Yeah.
Does it have a podium finish and how often it happens? Like,
Oh yeah, so yes, we have a podium finish. So in the Ultra Spice race, we run two formats together. So we have the ramp
okay.
qualifier also, which is people with their support vehicles, and we have the
Yeah.
self-supported ones who don't have it. We also have
Yeah.
a relay team format within that, and
Okay.
each category, of course, there is a podium because they're racing each other.
Yeah.
And in the last races, we've had Bharat Pannu, who has actually raced every single Ultra Spice race so far. He's also
Okay.
got two Guinness records to his name. So he's
Okay.
won both the self-supported races so far. And
Okay.
then, of course, on Inspire India,
Bharat
we
Pannu is from
keep
Mangalore, if I'm not wrong.
Bharat.
He's from Mangalore, if
Uh,
I'm not wrong. Somewhere in
no,
south?
no,
No. Okay.
Pannu. No, he's in the army, so he keeps getting posted from place to
Okay.
place.
Okay.
He was in Nashik when he started. Now he's in
Okay.
Bangalore, I think.
Yeah. Somewhere I read
And,
some article about him.
Acha. So all records of each race are maintained on our website, and we also have some awards and things which people, cumulative race awards that can be worked on over 2-3 years and things.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's once a year we conduct Ultra Spice on generally the last week of January. So around 26th
Okay.
Jan is when we start. We start from
Yeah.
Goa. The race goes from Goa to Chikmagalur, Coorg. Then we come down into Kerala, Wayanad district, and then we
Yeah.
climb up to Uti finally through the Sultan Batri area. It's a
Yeah. Road.
gorgeous route, full route if I say
Beautiful
so
road. Yeah.
myself. Yeah.
So you keep changing the route, or it's the same thing?
We changed that route only to deal with road diversions or some work going
Okay.
on. Otherwise, we
Okay.
don't
The
really
route
keep.
is yeah. So
Yeah.
unlike Brevet, this is a long distance race which need some kind of training and coaching and all those things. So does Inspire India support this kind of training and coaching?
So this year, currently, we are in the process of doing about 10 seminars. So,
Okay.
brevets can still be approached and done by people who are fairly new to the activity of cycling. But then after brevets, if
Okay.
you want to get into racing and ultra racing, the
Okay.
thing is that the time limits are much less. So you
Okay.
have to be much faster, your performance
Faster.
has to be fine-tuned, your food has to
Mm.
be fine-tuned, your equipment, everything. So there's a lot of learning to
Nutrition.
take place, and
Yep.
it's a steep learning curve. So, and if you're doing supported, then it's an even steeper learning curve because you have to learn how to create a team that helps you rather than
Yeah. So
impedes you
my
during the.
question is that how prepared has to be the rider and the team. This is something where the team also has to be prepared. Like how prepared both of them has to be for this session.
So if you're not doing self-supported, if somebody is planning to do the supported races, which is the RAM qualifiers, it's
Okay.
a process of cultivating a team which understands your needs. It's
Yeah.
very different from doing brevets.
Yeah.
And it has to be a kind of a racer mindset. You have to think about your performance like that.
Yeah.
Most of the people who have been racing regularly now at Deccan Cliffhanger or any of the Inspire India races
Yeah.
have started with brevets and
Yeah.
then,
That's true. Yeah.
come to thinking like, what more can I do? And then looked at these races and come and then evolved their own understanding of how to race better and better and perform
Okay.
better. And so, in our sessions, we actually have these people come as guest speakers. We have Kabir Rachure, who's done Ram solo in
Okay.
2019, I think. And we
Okay.
have them coming to help with the training. Of course, finally, if somebody is targeting something, we recommend them to get themselves a personal coach. But we just give like training
Yeah.
inputs on the various different topics
Yeah.
that you need to attend. Yeah.
So this can't be done without a team support, right? Can a person? So then I'm coming to the questions. Someone asked me like, whether we can ride solo or without the crew.
Yeah, so for Ultra Spice, we have the option of riding self-supported. Then you don't need a team. Then you can,
Okay.
if you have, if you've got a regular partner whom you're riding with during brevets, then you can even ride together and do it like that. But you don't
Okay.
need a team supporting you. But if you're
Okay.
targeting RAM, targeting Race Across America, then
Okay.
it's recommended you do it in that format as a RAM
True.
qualifier. Then you need to have your support team with you. And
Okay.
it for sure that format is expensive because each
Yeah.
racer has to take care of all the needs of the crew who's coming to help them out, and
Help them
so
out.
there's one or two cars involved. There'll be
Yeah.
travel expenses. There'll be accommodation and food for a whole large group of people. So
Correct.
uh, yeah.
So if you ask me, like, this Ultra Spice races are like one stepping stone to PBP, like, who are well versed with Ultra Spice can finish PBP in a better manner, you say?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. For sure, because
Okay.
it's a nice challenging route. A lot of
True.
elevation gain up and down.
Yeah.
Ultra Spice, we have a 1200-kilometer distance and a 1700
Okay.
distance. So 1200 goes from Goa to Coorg and back, and it's a
Yeah.
tough elevation. There is a
Correct.
self-supported format in that. So
Yeah.
for sure, doing that 1200K would be good preparation for PBP as well.
PBP. And then. So when is next PBP happening?
Next PBP will be in 2023, in August probably. As of now, that's the
And,
plan.
and
Yeah,
next
2020.
Ultra race happening next year, 2022?
Ultra Spice will take place in 2022. End of Jan is the. We'll start registrations only in about November or so. Yeah.
So all out here who want to be a part of Ultra race, please do join.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have almost covered all the sessions. We have some questions here, so let me just see how the
Yeah.
questions. Someone asked like, how difficult are Ultra Spice race? Can I participate as a solo rider? Yeah, we have answered that. How to prepare for 400 and 600 brevet? Someone has a
Um.
general question, like, someone from 200 would be like everyone would try, and 300, 400 would be, and 400, 600 would be like next or stretching themselves.
So generally, one of the things that we recommend the club organizing clubs to do is to
Yeah,
uh, set up the events in a sequence itself. So
yeah,
your season starts in November. November 1st, the new year starts, the new Audax year. So in the first couple of weeks of November, have a 200. Then you have a 300. By the end of November. So with the 2-3 weeks gap between each of these brevets. So what I tell people is that each of the brevets in sequence trains
yeah.
or prepares you for the next one. So when you do a
Okay.
200, that is actually your training ride for a 300. So
Yeah,
between a 200 and 300, you don't need to do any more distance in between. Now you just recover, make sure your food and this thing, and now just it's a mental preparation for being in the saddle for 100 kilometers more. Once you've done the 300, you know what your body does till 300 kilometers. Now you don't need extra training for the 400. Now
yeah.
that 300 has prepared you to take the next step to the 400. So the challenge
Coming
for
back to
400
that,
is
yeah, Dom. So I've seen to cope up with the calendar, someone do 200, then go to 400, then come to 300, and then do 600. So it's not in the
yeah,
correct rhythm which they go.
right.
So what's your suggestion for them?
So the best thing to do is to pace yourself in this way. Then each brevet
Yeah.
acts as the training and the step for the next one. The only challenge that one really has to keep in mind for a 400 and the 600 is the sleep deprivation. Because
Yeah.
a 300,
You're riding
if you
for
start at 6 in the morning, your 300 will finish by late night, post dinner, whatever at the latest.
yeah,
But for your 400, you're going to be on the road for most of the night. And if that's,
yeah.
so sleep deprivation is the first thing that you need to prepare for. For that, I would tell people, sleep is like a safety deposit in the bank.
Okay.
So you make sure that you sleep really well for the days leading up to your brevet. So your body and mind has had enough sleep inside it to be able to then be a little sleep deprived on that night. For the
Correct.
600, you need to plan for at least a 2.5 to 3 hours sleep break somewhere, and
Yeah.
then continue the next morning and finish.
Yeah.
So that's the things to keep into mind for 400, 600.
True. Someone asked like why aerobars are not allowed in breweries.
Because it's not a race. No, just aero bars are not allowed in India because of safety issues. So
Okay.
breweries on the road, they're
Descending,
on.
yeah, it can cause. It's not a sport. It's not a equipment which you use for the normal fun, right?
Yeah, and there is certain, your hands are not on the brakes. It's everything. The whole position in which you are on aero bars, it just adds a little bit more this thing to your ability to respond to traffic, because these breveries are taking place on open roads. So
Yeah.
they're also not allowed in France during breveries
Yeah.
or even PB. Very few countries allow aero bars during breveries or breveries.
And aerobars are always good on a flat road, not on the turns and twists. You might tend to, get into accidents. Someone has asked,
Yeah.
like, is there any limitation for becoming a brevet conducting club? I am not getting
Uh,
what is that question. Is there any
Limitations,
limitation?
one is,
Like,
like I said, there's
like if
eligibility.
much of brevets to be conducted in a year, is there like club should do so many brevets? That's what I think that's the
Oh,
question. Like,
no, no, we have
how
a
many
upper limit.
brevets?
We have an upper limit for how many breveries a club can conduct, but
Okay.
we
How
don't
many
have
is
a
that?
minimum. It's up to the club organizers. It depends on the club itself, how many people there are, how much interest
Yeah.
there is. So clubs, when they start off, normally we don't also allow them to do overnight brevis immediately.
Yeah.
Normally the clubs are only allowed to do 200 and 300 in the first day. The brevet populares, of course, 100,
Yeah.
150,
Yeah.
200, 300. And then when we are satisfied that they've understood how to
The
organize the
format.
brevet,
Yeah.
then do 400, 600. So that's a step-by-step process for clubs as well.
Correct. That's true. How should one handle sleep during the brevet? That's another question.
Yeah, so sleeping during the brevets, like I said, one thing that really, really helps is to make sure that you sleep well before your brevet. Don't,
Yeah.
make the night, especially the night before the brevet. Don't be,
Yeah.
packing late into the night, and then you have an early morning to get up and things.
Yeah.
So make sure that you sleep well before the brevet, because you are going to be sleep deprived during the brevet. And
True.
then the other thing is just keep safety in mind. So if you need a nap, if you're feeling sleep deprived on the bike, don't sleep on the bike. Stop, take a nap.
Stop.
For
Take a
power
rest.
naps
Yeah.
are great. Yeah. So I used to call myself the culvert queen, because I
Okay.
used to take naps on the culvert, the side of the road, on those little
Yeah.
culverts. Because every
Yeah.
time I like, okay, and I'm getting like I'm dozing on the bike. That's the time to stop, take a
That's true.
nap,
I
and
mean,
then continue.
safety also is a matter,
Is the big
your
concern. You're
sleep.
looking
Yeah.
out for yourself. Yeah. Nobody
Correct.
else there for you.
You're
Yeah.
risking others and others. And yeah, Sanjay asked, like, who's the second women randonneer after you? Super randonneer.
Um,
Do you know the
for
name
me,
by any chance?
yeah, yeah. It was, I think, Manjula. I think it was Manjula Sridhar from Bangalore.
Okay.
Um then there was somebody from Chennai. There was
Okay.
three, and yeah. After that, I won't know because there's so many of
So
them
lot many
joined
women
him.
are can.
That was great.
Any
Yeah.
restrictions like number of BRM clubs in an area or a city? That's another question which comes.
Yeah, so that we have a restriction because, like I said, the culture of this activity is non-competitive. So
Yeah.
it's not just non-competitive for
Shouldn't
riders, also
for the clubs
non-competitive for
also.
clubs. So we
Correct.
don't want too many clubs. Then, if you're too close to each other, too many clubs there, then there's
Yeah.
bound
You
to be
try to
some
market, yeah. Tend to
with the
market the
same rider.
event.
That's where safety gets compromised. So that's one thing that we're very clear about. Also, the
Yeah.
other thing is that, like I said, we give a responsibility to somebody from for someone to to establish a club, create the
Yeah.
routes. So those who have already been there for a long time doing that work
Yeah.
and have built up culture in their cities,
Culture thing. That
they
is so
also
better.
learn. Yeah, and they have a lot of experience about what to do. So we
Handling
don't want
anything,
to
yeah,
for their this thing as well. So only
correct.
when there are large metropolitan cities where we're finding there's too much crowd at the breweries, then we consider opening other clubs because then we know that the rider pool is huge, and we don't want to
Okay.
burden one person also with it because it's nobody's conducting these breweries for profit. Because it's
Yeah, true.
non-profit at every level, right? So
Yeah.
obviously, any ride responsible has got a job or has got some other work
Source
and
of
family,
income,
and
yeah.
don't want them to be spending all their life doing this. It's a huge sacrifice of time that they do. So it's
True.
like let's keep the burden on everybody distributed, sort of.
True, true. And this connect, apart from clubs, we also be a checkpoint at times. It's being very good to do such part of that event.
Yeah,
So I
good.
have
I'm glad.
a very interesting question. This is my favorite place also. Like any plan for Northeast because you said less of Torontonians in Northeast. That's what I question. So is they
No,
there or
we have two, three clubs there. We have Guwahati, we have
yeah?
Imphal,
Guwahati, I
and
know the person who does it.
right,
Yeah,
Sukuraj.
because cycling connects. Supuraj. So when I went for
Yeah,
Guwahati trip, he was the one who helped me in arranging my accommodation. So that's why cycling community and the connect is like
yeah,
so
yeah,
good. People all
right.
across comes and helps it. Yeah, so
And there's
there the
one,
question is answered. Yeah, Guwahati is there.
there are two, three other clubs there also. So, and they connect with each other. Just look it up and
Superb.
you'll find them. Yeah.
Someone asked like BRM fees structure has gone pretty high. So any thoughts on that compared to the older ones?
Um,
That's what they're saying.
which older ones? I don't think the fees have
I don't
increased in
know.
the last. So, see, the BRM fees are conducted, each club decides what the fees would be. Audax India
Yeah,
has their own fees on for membership, which then gives you
yeah,
access to all this thing. And then Audax Club has some homologation fees that we charge. But beyond all that, each club has to decide what is the expense involved in conducting the brevis in
correct.
their own terms.
True.
So there we have to give them the freedom to decide because it's not for profit, but at the same time
Yeah,
it's not for loss either. So we don't want
yeah,
because it's not a sustainable activity. See, if I'm just conducting one brevet, I'll
yeah,
say okay, I'll spend on the brevet, na? Even if I don't cover my expenses through the fees, because you have to. The biggest expense actually for any club organizer is the fuel expense. The fuel expense of doing
true,
the
true.
the fuel expense of taking out the vehicle. So
Yeah,
those are the bigger expenses. So clubs which have large groups which have been doing it for a few years will now be
yeah,
covering their expenses. But small
yeah.
clubs who start with just 5, 10 riders, you already
So
spent
much.
more than you recover from the brevet even if you do it three
Correct.
times. So
True.
the fees, we leave the freedom to them to decide. And I know for a fact that though we don't have a cap on the actual fee, we keep an eye on it at Audax India level. But
Yeah.
very frankly, I know it. Nobody's becoming Dhirubhai Ambani doing these,
Good.
whatever fees they
Right.
charge, because there's a limit. If I,
Yeah, I
you
know,
know,
I know.
increase my fees too high, I'm not going to get riders.
Get people. Yeah.
I can only do so much, and that will help me to recover my cost of this
Yeah.
thing. My time is anyway not being ever compensated. The amount of time that the club
Yeah.
organizers put conducting a brevet, who's compensating for that?
And
So,
since the number of since the expenses are huge, is there any minimum number of riders should be there to flag off one BRM or even if it's one rider, it's on.
if that's the thing, if like a club that's doing it one day, you have 25, 30 riders, and that's great, and you do it, but we discourage clubs from canceling brevets
Yeah.
because unless of course there's extenuating circumstances, if there's a storm or if there's
Yeah.
some reason why the brevets have to be shut down, then you shut it down. But
Yeah.
if you have even one or two people registered for your brevet, if they have an SR hanging on it, or if they have something else in mind that they're doing with
Yeah.
respect to
True.
the way, and need that homologation. They need to do that brevet for some reason. Then it's really unfair to cancel. So as
Cancel
far
it.
as possible, we have to find a little bit of a balance because on the one hand, for a club organizer
The
to
club
run
shouldn't, yeah.
people, so then we tell them just have a conversation with the rider, whoever's signed up. If it's somebody coming from
Yeah.
out of town and I've booked my flight tickets to
Yeah.
come, then even if one person is coming, I have to run the brevet. So these
Correct.
kind of things we discussed and figured, but we discourage cancellation.
Okay, so we might take last two questions. I think we are done with a lot of discussion.
Oh,
You know, so we'll just summarize it. You know, someone starts a brevet, you become an SR, you have this ultra spice race to go to the next level, and that's a, you know, self check before attending PBP. That's what, you know, we interpreted it as like. So do 1,000 or 1,200 before going to PBP so that we'll have
yeah,
more ratio of people finishing in France, and
yeah,
you know it's value for the money you spent.
yeah.
Okay, so one last question: anyone, the clubs used to cancel brevets, start stating lesser participation. You know, someone is
Well,
saying that.
yeah, sometimes clubs have to cancel brevets. That happens.
Yeah,
Finally, it's the personal responsibility. One person is doing it, and if
true.
sometimes you don't have help or there's some
Yeah,
family issue or commitment, so as much as we discourage them from being casual about it, sometimes
yeah.
cancellations. Yeah.
But we always have someone in 100-kilometer radius for the next. You know, most probably you should be having like
There's a
something.
85 club means there's something close by.
There they are very close by.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it for the session. I think we answered a lot of your queries. So once again, thank you, Divya, for coming in. It was pleasure having you. You know, I
Thank
think
you
a
for
lot
coming.
of thoughts. You know, we all at the store also we just questions where people ask like after SR what next. You know, so that's the reason we wanted to know like understand Brevet first, the culture of that activity, then move into ultra races. You should be well equipped to do a race, and then you know you're spending a lot for being in PPP. So
Yeah.
finisher, we always want everyone to finish and come. I think 100% would be a great number to, you know, it's a
Yeah.
dream number. I think that's one reason she has brought Brevet to India. I think it's growing in a good number and something to be proud of.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thank you all who have missed this session. You will be having an IGTV video on this, so we can just check it out. So thanks a lot.
Thanks,
All have a
everybody.
great night.
Good chatting
Take
with
care.
you. Thank you also, Rajit.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good night. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.
Night.
Bye.